Good day, everyone, and welcome to our ProTraining technical webinar. Today we have Jim Shaver from AP&G presenting. He will discuss promotion and profit through private labeling. Before we start, I'd like to review a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. Here's a quick review of what you'll see on your screen. To the left of your screen is the viewer where you see the presentation. To the right is the control panel where you can ask questions. The control panel will collapse automatically when not in use. To keep it open, click the View menu and uncheck Auto Hide Control Panel. You've joined this webinar in listen-only mode, which means you are muted. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions by typing them into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation, and we will address them during the Q&A session at the end. Please note that we may not be able to answer all questions due to time constraints, but we'll do our best to cover as many as possible. Additionally, via the control panel, you can download the presentation and other resource documents provided by our presenter by accessing the Handouts pane at any time during the webinar. Later today, you'll receive a follow-up email containing the recording of this webinar for your reference. With that, let me introduce you to today's speaker. Jim has 35 years of experience in the pest control industry with a particular expertise in the commercial and hospitality industries. His career has included several years with international pest companies, with 16 years of his career spent starting, growing, and managing a commercial pest control company that served the pest management needs of more than 35,000 hotel rooms in Southern California. He joined AP&G 6 years ago, and his territory includes the Western U.S. and Western Canada. Jim, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you folks today. I'm going to shut my camera off because the glare off of my head is distracting me. I'm sure it will distract you. I'm delighted to be chatting to you today about private labeling. And this is a subject that's kind of near and dear to my heart. Private labeling is a widely used tool to build brand awareness, to communicate to your customers, to really promote your business as you're working through your daily activities. And I'm here to just give you the quick and dirty information about private labeling. It's really a misunderstood subject as well, because it just seems like you see the huge pest control companies and they've got their logos and everything on their glue boards and other items, and many folks tend to just assume that that's only available for the very large pest companies. So I'm here to hopefully dispel that myth. So let me dive right into it. We're going to go for, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes and run through this presentation and then open up the floor for questions. And at the end, my contact information will also be available on your screen. If you have any questions at all, I'm delighted to answer them on this presentation or in person if you want to give me a shout afterwards or shoot me an email. So let's just start with some of the challenges that we frequently see with private labeling. Is most companies consider it to be something that's very expensive, and can I afford it? Is it something that's realistic for me? And the reason that that's a challenge is because in the past, most opportunities for private labeling required very large minimum order quantities. So, you might be investing in thousands and thousands of dollars of stock that if you're not a larger or medium-sized company, you might not go through too quickly. Also, in the past, many private label opportunities required larger setup costs. You got to make printing plates, you've got to do different things that might create a financial barrier. In many cases, it also took a long time to get private labels set up. Those are the typical challenges that we've seen in the past. At present, we have innovated this segment of the market to the extent that we can private label as few as 50 cases of glue boards. And that's, I'm going to talk to you in more detail about this, but that's not a lot of glue boards. If you think about a 1 or a 2 truck operation, if you're using, 1 or 2 cases of glue boards a month, that's a very small amount. And I hope you're using more than that, because we should be monitoring and using them for almost every account. But long story short is, 50 cases is probably a year's worth of product or less. And the shelf life on these products is excellent. So you get no concern about things going bad. We've also innovated things to the extent that at present, there are no plate costs, and digital private labeling allows us to waive that cost. We can also, with our digital private labeling, provide full color customization. So if you've got a logo or a marketing message that's got a bunch of different colors in it, we can handle that. And again, with our digital private labeling, it's quick. We can once we get that design approved by you, we can get this out the door and on its way to you in 2 to 3 weeks. So it's a quick, inexpensive, very flexible platform. I wanted to sort of talk about our private labeling program, because there are other options in the industry, but you should understand that the Catchmaster AP&G private labeling option, I think even our competitors would agree, we're the experts at it. We do the vast majority of private labeling in Canada and the US, and it's something we've been doing for decades. So we're experienced, we're used to the challenges that you have. We're here to help a pest control company who has a marketing department who wants to control the design themselves and put together a design, or we're here to create a design for a smaller company that doesn't have a dedicated marketing team. So again, we're here with a level of expertise and experience that I think is unmatched in the industry. Let me talk about those low minimum order quantities. A few years ago, we started changing the way we do some private labels. We call it our digital printing process. And essentially, it's a very large digital printer that allows us to print on a glue board. And it enables us to make lower batches at one time. This offering is only available with 4 glue boards, the 72 Max, which is our most commonly private label glue board, and that's shown on the screen here. Our 72 door hanger, which I'll talk about in a minute, and our 2 monitors, the 280i and 100i. And each of these offerings has a lower minimum order quantity than you probably realize. There are no plate costs. It's full color, so there's whatever your logo looks like, we can print it. We can customize the glue board for you, and it's co-branded. And essentially what that means is, if you look at this rendering here, it says your logo here. In order to do lower case quantities, minimum order quantities, we've reduced the amount of customization. And so essentially you've got Catchmaster, all of our normal printing on there, everything that you would normally see on a glue board, except we give you that bottom flap that's on the bottom of that glue board. And when you fold that, it shows up on the top of the glue board. So your marketing message, your identity, your logo is right there for the customer to see. And because it's a little lower level of customization, and I'll show you the higher level of customization in a second, we can do it at much lower minimum order quantities, as few as 50 cases. Please don't get confused by this screen. I wanted to put this on here because I wanted to show you our standard standard private labeling, which has higher minimum order quantities, but a lot more flexibility. It's completely customizable. We would make printing plates that match exactly what your design are. There are some color limitations, but we can always seem to do it in a way that your customers are very happy with the colors. And I like this little chart on the left, not because I want you to see it. It's a lot of scribbling and detail, but look at how many different private labels we can make. With virtually almost all of our glue boards can be customized for your marketing needs. And if you note on the right side of the screen here, it says your logo here. You get to customize both sides of the glue board. You get your logo or whatever you choose to have underneath the glue. You get every side of that glue board. You can put do not touch. You can put your name, your logo, your tagline. You can even put pictures if you wanted. I'll show you some examples of that in a moment. It's a very highly customizable item. It does come with some higher minimum order quantities, and it's typically around a pallet. So for the 72 max that we were looking at here, a pallet is 270 cases. So it's a quantity, but probably not as much as you think. And what I mean by that is once customers start using this in their daily operations, but also using them for marketing, they realize that they need more than they normally do, and a pallet might not be as unreachable of a quantity as you might think. I'm reminded of a customer in Phoenix that I was private labeling for, and it was a real stretch. He was just really nervous about this glue board. You know, can I afford 50 cases? Is that 10 years worth of product? I mean, is it really a good idea for me? But he decided to go with this 50 cases minimum, and they went out and started clover leafing and using these glue boards as their business cards. And it was a really successful effort, meaning when you put a note on someone's door, or you put a business card on someone's door, they might just throw it away, and they've got a very high percentage discard rate. But if you provide them a usable tool, they're way less likely to discard it, and the discard rate goes way down when we put an item on there that they see as valuable, a tool that they can use. So I'm giving this example of the gentleman in Phoenix. He was very nervous about the first 50 cases, thinking it might have just been way too many. And about 4 weeks later, he called me back and said, I need 2 pallets. We're going through this stuff so fast. We're selling new accounts. We're using it as a marketing tool. And we're using it much more frequently than I realized we would. So I'm not saying that that's always the case, that you go from 50 cases to 540 cases in a few weeks, but most people do end up using more than they realize. Just a few examples showing the two options that we've already seen. The digital print is on the top left, where you've got lower levels of customization, but the customization is in the right spot. It's right there on top of that glue board when it's folded. And then the standard print is full of customization. Standard print is full of customization. If you look at the bottom left, I wanted to also make sure you realize we can private label things. We can customize glue boards having nothing to do with your logo. This is a product that we customized for a customer because they were quite confident that they caught more mice with a black glue board than a white one. And so we did it for them. And it makes sense from a behavioral standpoint. The customer was, mice are running along and they're trying to stay in shadows. They like dark, cryptic places. And this glue board just blended right in with those dark and cryptic places. So although I'm going to talk a lot about marketing today, I'm also going to, sprinkle in here some operational details and some important things. We're using these things as a tool, and we want them to work as best we can. So if you come up with a need that works best in your business, talk to us about it. We can certainly customize things for you. And one of my best examples of full customization is this customer on the bottom right. If you notice, the gentleman's face is on it, and there's some quotes there from him talking about his business, and he made this into a scorpion trap. And I know scorpions are not a big problem in Canada, but I thought this was such a great design I wanted to show you. He even put a little identification key on there showing the two main scorpions that the customer may catch on this glue board. So I just like that as an opportunity to show you how customized we can get it. Most often customers don't go to this level of customization. They normally, under the glue, they want their logo, their contact information, and perhaps call today for free insect identification or something like that. But this shows how detailed we can get. I want to just step back because ultimately, it's about doing the job and accomplishing the best possible results we can for our customers. So I wanted to throw in a couple of tips regarding glue boards because whether it's private labeled or whether it's a standard Catchmaster glue board, we want to use it correctly. I already mentioned shadows. Mice, and for that matter, rats, they run in shadows. They prefer moving in dark, protected areas. So always place them around the walls, on the edge of the walls, on pipes. And we call them shadow lines, places where maybe in the room it's a little less light, or at night there's no light at all in that corner. So always place those in the darker, more cryptic areas. Straightaways are real important. Imagine you're a rodent and you're running along a wall. You want to place a glue board in a place where that rodent is running at full speed, because a glue board is a blunder trap. They're not running along and saying, this smells good, I'm going to try to eat it. They're like they might be with a snap trap. They're running along and they go, oops, and they get caught. So we want them to be going full speed. And so avoid corners, avoid other obstructions where you imagine yourself running along this wall. Well, you've got to slow down to get around this obstruction, whatever it is, whether it's a piece of furniture or something else. You want to try to avoid the areas where they're running slower. And a good way to do this, with snap traps, we pre-bait. We put the bait in and we let the rodents get used to eating it without setting the traps. And then we set them at the appropriate time for best success. You can do the same thing with glue boards, except you leave the release paper on it, meaning you don't expose the glue, and you put it in the spot where you're going to be trapping, and you just leave it there. Now, over the next few days, the rodent activity will hopefully encounter that glue board, run right over the top of it, deposit some pheromones, deposit some urine, maybe deposit some droppings. And then once they've grown accustomed to that device, take the release paper off. And now you've got a seasoned trap that smells like rodents, that obviously a rodent has encountered in the past, and the next rodent might be a bit less skittish about. Excuse me. So back to the marketing side of things, or at least a different side of it. Been talking about glue boards this whole time because that is our most commonly private labeled item. But I wanted to throw this in here because we do offer customization and private labeling for other devices too. You notice our multi-catch traps here. We can customize them by silk screening. As you notice, the one on the left says local pest right on top of the trap itself. We can actually emboss the lid where we press your logo into the lid. We can, if you use the clear tops, we can silk screen those. I just wanted to make sure you knew that it wasn't just glue boards that can be private labeled. If you want to use another device to promote your identity, this is certainly an option. The multi-catch traps, our wooden snap traps we can private label, our plastic snap traps we can private label. So remember, as I'm going along here, this is all available. These items do take a little longer to put together, just because it's a bit more of a manufacturing process, and we've got to put some other things in place to make sure that it works well for you. So there's a bigger lead time with it, but it's certainly worth the wait if this is something that you want to move forward with. Let me slip back into the marketing side. This is a very popular private label product that's relatively new. We've had it out now for a year and maybe a couple of years actually, now that I think about it, but we've really started introducing it in the last 8 to 10 months. And it's a door hanger. And I should make sure and clarify, when I talk about clover leafing, if you imagine a picture of a clover on the screen in front of you, if you're not already doing it, it's a wonderful marketing technique. Meaning, I'm servicing Mrs. Jones' house, and I'm standing in her front yard, completed the service. I'm right next door to several other houses, and I'm going to look at them like the leaves of a clover. I'm going to go right, I'm going to go left, I'm going to go straight across the street, and just market myself to those customers. And sometimes we have customers that knock on the door and chat with the homeowners. Frequently, they want to leave something behind that says, "Hey, I'm servicing your neighbor, next door. I would love an opportunity to work with you." And we developed a private label door hanger to do that. So it's a usable glue board, but it's set up as a door hanger. So if I were clover leafing at a customer today, I would just have a box or two of these in my vehicle, and as I finish every service, I would put out 3 or 4, 5 if I'm able, just hanging them on each customer's door adjacent to my current customer. It's got a customizable component. If you look on the left, we can do that standard private labeling where you essentially get full customization with your logo under the glue, the marketing message on the other side, whatever you would like to put on there. We do have to leave the instructions for the glue board because we're leaving behind a glue board for a customer. And we want to say, "Hey, thanks for the opportunity to talk to you. We're sorry we missed you. And here's a free gift, compliments of my pest control company. And here's how you use it." So that bottom half of the glue board on the left is those instructions. but you certainly have the opportunity to customize it above that. You can, I've got one customer that on the glue side, they have their logo, their information, and you're imagining the customer putting this in their garage or under their sink or something like that, and they put the tagline under their logo, "Call today for free pest identification and recommendations." So right there underneath this insect that the customer's just caught is your identity, is your logo, is your phone number. That standard option on the left side is a pallet quantity, but we also offer it at a 50 case quantity. So on the right side, again, there's less customization. We can't print on the glue side, but we can take that non-glue side, the front side, and put your marketing message right there. You know, your logo, your contact information. Sorry we missed you. We would love a chance to talk to you. You know, please, you know, the instructions are still there. Please put this out, and if you encounter a pest issue, please contact us at this number or at this website. So again, 50 cases is, frankly, if you're using it for clover leafing, it's a small quantity, because, you know, let's just say you service 15 customers today, and each technician clover leaves 4 houses on their route. So 15 times 4 is 60 glue boards a day that customer is going to be using. So 50 cases is going to last just a little bit over a month per technician. So it's not a great deal of volume, but it's a really nice way for you to dip your toe in if you just don't think you're ready for private labeling a whole pallet of glue boards, and you're not sure if you like the clover leafing method or whether you want to use the door hangers. You can get a quantity of these that's quite low, and you can just give it a try. And we can print them quickly and easily. 2 to 3 weeks is typically what we like to quote for the lead time. I guess this is just a little closer picture of it. And I wanted to remind you that there's no limit when we're doing the digital private label. There's no limit to the colors. So you can have a really beautiful logo. I've got a customer that there were 19 colors in his logo. And I'm not saying that that's a great marketing choice, because it's going to be hard to print those types of items without some significant extra cost. But for this particular product, we can do any level of color that you want. Just another closer look at that standard private label. So this one's got a 250 case minimum order quantity for the door hangers. And I guess using the calculations that I did a minute ago, roughly speaking, you know, a pallet, if you're genuinely trying to clover leaf, if you're genuinely trying to grow your business and using that method and using these door hangers, 250 cases might, I guess that's going to last maybe 6 technicians a month. So the 250 cases is not a big number if you're using it aggressively. I think I mentioned it earlier, but just to restate it, with these standard private labels, we're making printing plates, we're ordering your ink. We've very much customized it to you. And if you've got a very unique color red, or if you've got a unique color green, or whatever your colors are, we literally identify that color and we order your ink, and it sits on our shelf waiting for you. It's dedicated to you along with your printing plates. So when you reorder, you get that consistency, and you've always got the same product coming out, and it's exactly what you want. We won with our door hanger glue boards the Pest Management Professional 2025 P&P Choice Award because it's innovative and it's something that is not widely used. A lot of folks print out door hangers, they print out other types of flyers and business cards, they put them on the door, but the discard rate is so high with that type of marketing material. The last I was involved with, the discard rate was around 90% for just an average flyer. We have a much lower discard rate with a usable tool, and we've had several customers that really are achieving success with these. So just wanted to let you know this is something that we've got in the field at present. It's being very well received, and it's working at the end of the day. I'm gonna kind of talk to you about some questions that I get, and maybe try to anticipate some of the questions you may have. One of the most frequent questions I get is which one should I start with? That depends a little bit, meaning, is it going to be a functional operational tool? Are you using it as an insect and mouse monitor? Then that's probably the 72 Max, because Max stands for maximum value, meaning it's a relatively inexpensive product. It's got a little less glue on there than a regular mouse glue board, but it's fine as a monitor. And if you're private labeling a mouse glue board, I think that's one to look at. If you're really wanting the best performance, our 72MB glue board has more glue on it and can give you a little bit better performance. If you're using it for marketing and almost exclusively marketing, using it as a business card, gosh, you could use our 72 Max and give them out to customers. You could use our insect monitors. They're smaller and they're almost the size of a business card. There are so many options, and I'm happy to guide you down that road if you want to try this out. You don't have to be overwhelmed with Catchmaster's 120 different glue boards. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? We're very experienced at this, and we can guide you through it. So another thing that people ask me all the time is, how does it work? How do I go from start to finish in getting my logo and contact information on a glue board or another product? Again, this is a big part of my job and Kim in Eastern Canada. The two of us design and do this all the time, get customers set up with private labels. So we guide you through it. We do most of the work. Essentially, what it comes down to is we get your logo from you, meaning you send us a high quality or high resolution logo file. We design a product. Our graphic artists professionally typeset a product for you that, if you don't have a specific design in mind, we kind of start out with a design that we think would look nice for your product. We send that to you and you say, oh, that's great. Or no, I want to change this. I want to adjust that. Can I put this here and move that there? It's fully up to you. We're certainly not going to print a product, print a private label glue board that you're not perfectly happy with. So we go through that process of adjusting it for your needs, and then we just send you a final proof, and that proof is a rendering of exactly what it would look like. You sign off on it, Your distributor places an order, and we're up and running. If it's the standard private label glue board, it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to get that first order in. But then we'll have your printing plates and we'll have your ink. So when you reorder, it's much, much quicker, maybe 2 to 3 weeks to get that second and third and fourth and fifth pallet. If it's a digital private label, once your distributor places that order for the 50 cases, you just, it's going to take a couple of weeks for it to show up. It's very quick because we don't have to make printing plates. A lot of people ask, what kind of support and what am I going to get from Catchmaster after I place an order? Well, that's my job, and that's Kim's job in Eastern Canada, is to help troubleshoot problems, to help do training, to work with you and your team to make a private label and any of our products as successful as possible. And I just really want to stress that word training, because Catchmaster, we invest quite a bit of money in those of us out in the field who are here to serve your needs. And I guess we're salespeople, but I always kind of think of myself as a service person who's out there to make sure that the customers are satisfied with our products. The products are working the best possible way. The technicians are using them in the most effective way, and that's usually achieved via training. So that support and that troubleshooting and that training, I think, again, even our competitors should probably tell you that we're the experts in trapping and glue boards and that type of stuff, and we're here to back it up with whatever you need. So with that said, I think I've gotten to the end of my slides here. That's my contact information there on the right. Please snap a picture of it or a screenshot and give me a call or send me an email. And I'd like to open it up. I wanted to leave 15 minutes or so just for any questions in case someone has them.
Jim, thank you for presenting such great informative information. Honestly, some questions came in, but I have to say it seemed like on that last couple of slides, you answered the majority of them. But I think one came in that I don't think you addressed, and that's just asking, do I have to be a door-to-door company to use private label glue boards for marketing?
What a great question. And the answer is absolutely not. In fact, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. If you are a door-to-door company, we would love for you to private label, glue boards. But most of the door-to-door companies don't like to leave anything at the door. They want to go back and make another contact and attempt to physically speak to the customer. So it's not been as popular with the door-to-door companies as it is with the non-door-to-door companies. The non-door-to-door companies are just clover leafing. They're not actually knocking on the door. They're just leaving something on the doors adjacent to their existing customers. They're handing these out like business cards. They're using them in as kind of a giveaway. I've got a customer in Phoenix. I don't know why I'm using Phoenix today as all of my examples, but I've got a customer that orders 10 pallets of private label glue boards a year. So that's 2,700 cases. I don't know how many, 2,700 times 70, that's a lot of glue boards. And they are not a door-to-door company. They just, if they're at the gas station and they're filling up with the gas, their technicians hand them out to people. They use them at home and garden shows. As giveaways. They're just very open about giving these away because they're so inexpensive. If you think about a glue board, it's cents. It's not dollars, it's cents. And in many cases, it's less expensive than a business card. So they use it in that way. So no, you do not have to be a door-to-door company. You don't have to be banging on doors today. It's just another way to communicate with your potential audience that you're there and hey, here's a free gift. Hope I answered that.
Yep, very good. Thanks, Jim.
Mhm.
Here's a question that came in asking, is Catchmaster planning to sell directly in the Canadian marketplace? If yes, then how can we compete with the brand considering that you already have a price advantage and are already a well-known brand?
How can you compete with the brand? I think I understand that. So it sounds like a reseller, um, meaning must be selling our billboards on the internet. I'm guessing that's what this is about. So I'm not 100% sure I understand. I guess we're
I,
not planning to sell anything direct in Canada, meaning we sell through Veseris, and Veseris is our distributor there in Canada. And no, we're not planning to sell direct. I'm not quite sure about the competition part of the question, but we do have a ton of resellers in Canada who seem to do very, very well. So, gosh, maybe give me a call or send me an email. I'd love to get into that a little deeper and see exactly what your situation is, so that so that we can answer your question correctly. I'm just a little unclear about competing.
yeah, Jim, thanks for that. And thanks for just offering, yeah, that this person can just contact you directly to get
Of
that
course.
answered. Yeah. So
Yeah.
actually, those are the only questions that have come in. So I want to thank you for attending today's webinar. And just a reminder that later today, you'll receive a follow-up email with a short survey and the recording. And we'd appreciate you sharing your feedback. On behalf of Jim and Veseris, we sincerely thank you for choosing to spend your time with us today. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye bye now.
Bye, everyone.